This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's the week of July 10th, 2020, and it's the Relevant Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, here in Orlando. And joining me from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Austin, Texas, author and podcaster Jamie Ivey.
Hey, guys.
And from Nashville, Tennessee, artist and producer Derek Miner.
What up, dog?
Hey, guys. We have a great show in store for you today. You guys don't even know this yet. This is one of those shows where there's not many outlets would pair these two together, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Coming up on the show today, we have N.T. Wright coming up.
Ooh.
Okay. Theologian, one of the smartest people in the world, and Hillsong Young and Free. We got young, we got old, we got the whole spectrum. No matter what you want, we got it for you coming up on the show today.
Love it.
Very nice. Very nice.
N.T. Wright has a new book out called God and the Pandemic. And so we talked to him about that. So
how fast did he have to write that?
or
is this like a prophetic
That's how smart
book?
He is.
No,
that's how smart he is.
He was at a Bethel Prophecy conference last year, and he just got ready. He just knew it was coming.
He's been sitting on that script. Yep.
It's like that Netflix pandemic movie that came out right when the pandemic hit. It's like, okay, I'm not like one for that elaborate of conspiracy theories, but what a marketing plan for that quarantine movie to release a virus. Like, how I genuinely am curious, and he'll probably cover it, but I guess he just had it sort of these ideas in the hopper, and then the pandemic actually hit. I'm curious.
Jesse, you just mentioned the word conspiracies, and I got to admit to you, I'm exhausted because I was up all night dealing with crazy people on Relevant's Instagram comments.
Oh, gosh.
Once again. It was troubling because Tuesday, so we record on Wednesday, so we're playing with the space-time continuum right now.
Yeah.
You're hearing this on Friday. We're recording this Wednesday morning. This happened on Tuesday. So Tuesday, innocently, America has two dads, Uncle Phil and Tom Hanks, right? Yep. That's it. Uncle Phil and Tom Hanks. So we just innocently, Tom Hanks on Tuesday, he had COVID a few months ago when he was shooting in Australia. We know all this. And he just came out, he did an interview, and he was just saying, like, please, America, just do the common sense things for your brother. Wear a mask, like social distance, wash your hands. It's not that complicated. Be a good citizen, please. If you can't do that, I just don't have much respect for you. That's what he said.
And you put a quote up. I saw it.
So we just kind of, to be funny, we said, hey, listen, y'all, we don't want to disappoint America's dad. Do this so he's not disappointed in us, right? Okay. Posted it. That's it. Moved on. Next thing I know, all of a sudden, the comments were talking about, how dare you publish a pedophile? How dare you be a puppet of the left liberal agenda? How dare you, buy into the stupid plandemic? Do your research, Relevant. And I'm like, what? I called Tyler. I'm like, Tyler, did something come out about Tom Hanks I don't know about? And he's like,
it's Q, man.
He's like, no, dude, it's completely right-wing fringe conspiracy. This thing called QAnon. And he updated me on what's going on. So apparently there's a faction of right-wing evangelicals who believe this conspiracy theory on the far corners of the internet, that all the Hollywood elite, the deep state government and media are controlling or covering up a child trafficking ring. And they're all abusing children, and somehow the pandemic is involved. Yeah. Hillary Clinton was involved. Bill Gates is involved.
Does this have to do with
Tom
Jeffrey
Hanks
Epstein?
Got mentioned on this. Epstein is involved, and somehow Tom Hanks got mentioned in all this.
Yeah, the Podesta leak. So basically,
I've never heard this.
I know, it's crazy. It was crazy, and these are Christian people following Relevant. And
they're so disappointed in you too. That's my favorite. And that's my favorite comment. I'm so disappointed in you.
Joint too, right?
That's my favorite.
Dude, people were posting putting pizza emojis in the
what
comments.
does that mean?
So
Pizzagate, yeah.
So I actually, the last time this dust up like this happened on the Instagram feed, I think, Cameron, it might have been when you shared that. I wrote a feature in the mag probably about a year ago, ran about a year ago, about Christians and conspiracy theories that we talked about. The kid that burst into Comic Pizza, or Comic
kid,
Pizza.
It was a dad. It was a Christian elder
he was young
at his church.
But he was young. He was in his early 20s. He was in his early 20s and, went to this pizza restaurant that brandishing an automatic rifle, expecting to break up a secret pedophilia ring. Obviously, he didn't find anything but families enjoying pizza.
It was in D.C. I read about this yesterday because The Atlantic did an amazing piece about it. But like it was in D.C. and supposedly this anonymous source, Q, on the internet said that Hillary Clinton and other people were trafficking children in the basement of this specific pizza parlor in D.C. So this guy goes back there, busts into it, goes into the back. There's a locked door, and he shoots it open with his gun to reveal the basement. There's no basement in this building.
Yeah. There's just pizza.
And it was just a storage unit, and he's just, he's humiliated at this point.
And the origins of this is in the 2016 election. There was the WikiLeaks, email dump of all these emails from high-ranking DNC officials, including John Podesta, who's a big figure in the DNC, and his emails got leaked. And the suspicions were that he was sending coded messages about this, crazy ring of pedophiles and this kind of global conspiracy, and a figure on 4chan, which is the darkest corner of the internet. No one should go there. Who would go by Q Anonymous, QAnon, would, start posting these sort of cryptic messages that, he claims to be, or he or she claims to be a Washington insider that is leaking information about this conspiracy and efforts, to expose it. And then it starts, just like all conspiracies, starts reaching its claws into every, global news event, including the recent protests, including the pandemic and mask recommendations from government officials. But the thing is, like a lot of these conspiracies, you don't have to get too far deep or too far in till, you see some incredibly troubling things beyond just kind of paranoid rantings, like a lot of these conspiracies. And this is something that we covered extensively in the piece. A lot of them have real anti-Semitic, either dog whistles or just blatant anti-Semitism. So, when you hear the term globalist or the global elite, a lot of times that is, a dog whistle. A dog whistle is the term they use for, only the people who are meant to hear it can hear it, for this sort of like Jewish conspiracy. A lot of times they'll drop the name George Soros. So this is a George Soros funded thing where, George Soros is a, prominent Jewish philanthropist. So you're not that far removed from anti-Semitism at the core of a lot of these conspiracies, including Q. And that's partly why Christians, these Christians that have, really kind of attached themselves to this, it's incredibly troubling. And a lot of them want to ignore some of the dark implications of believing these conspiracies. But a lot of anti-Semitism is at the core of a lot of this stuff.
So I guess what's confusing to me and you may know about, I don't understand the idea of being a Christian and an anti-Semite. Like, if you believe, like, Jesus would have been Jewish,
well,
right? So it's how does that work?
I think there's a faction of fundamentalism that says, well, the Jews killed Jesus. So I think that's a big part of ancient kind of rivalry between the Jews and Gentiles, is that the Jews killed Jesus.
But that's all part of his plan. And then if you go to Romans 11, it talks about how you were grafted in, right? So you can't, just because you were grafted in, you could be grafted out, and that the Lord is not going to let his people go. You see what I'm saying? So I guess that's just, to me, I don't understand that. Like, you can have a whole movement of anti-Semitism, but worship a a Jewish Hebrew Jesus.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, and this is kind of, it really, in contemporary times, it was, and this isn't, I know that this isn't jumping to some sort of extreme here. This was something that was championed during the Nazis' rise to power. Hitler claimed that he was a Christian doing God's work. And, and he married religious fanaticism in Christianity with fascism, with anti-Semitism. And that's why it's so terrifying of what you see happening right now. Because what are three factors that these modern conspiracy theorists have in common? One is religious fanaticism, in their own interpretation of this dark, twist on Christianity. The other is clearly fascism. I mean, we've seen the current administration appropriate Nazi era symbols, dog whistles into their campaign, including America First. That was that was a message of fascist propaganda during World War II. And the third element is anti-Semitism. So when you see, whether it be the president or whether it be these kind of radical followers of the president, marry those three things. The last time we saw that happen in history, where you have a political leader marrying fascism, religious fanaticism, and anti-Semitism, it was Hitler. Yeah. And we've seen this crop up too. Even with what happened with Deshaun Jackson and Steven Jackson, the two athletes this week, where Deshaun Jackson, who's a wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, posted a quote that, it was belonging to a writing by Louis Farrakhan, but he had highlighted a quote in this book from the teachings of Louis Farrakhan that, was purported to be a quote from Hitler that he supported that said the cause of all these global problems is Jews. Deshaun Jackson, an NFL player, posted this on Instagram, and then Steven Jackson, a retired NBA player and who's done a lot of great work in activism, and is also, he's got a podcast, All the Smoke, went and supported it. So you see these strands of anti-Semitism cropping up in these kind of different conspiracy circles, and it's really concerning.
The thing about this Tom Hanks thing, though, was like pedophilia. It was like that the deep state government and Hollywood elite and economic leaders are in a conspiracy to traffic children, and that Q and some of these people have, out of righteous virtue, they're standing up to it. They believe that Trump is on a mission to expose the deep state, and they believe there's going to be a big reveal, we've uncovered all of it. And so they actually believe that a lot of his rambling speeches are dropping clues, and he's speaking just to them, and they're enlightened, and it's going under the radar of the mainstream media, and that he's lobbing them hints that support me because I'm taking down the deep state from the inside. And so there's this out of religious conviction, is what I was reading yesterday about this pedophilia ring. A lot of Christians are wanting to expose this corrupt sin cover-up thing, and they forgive all of Trump's character issues because they believe he was sent by God to expose that stuff and take it down. And then therefore, hence this Baptist church elder guy going to the pizza restaurant with a gun. He didn't want to scare the customers or whatever. He was on a righteous mission to expose this pedophilia ring.
But wasn't Trump buddies with Epstein?
Exactly.
How is that's what I'm saying. Are they not thinking Trump's a part of it?
Well, read the comments on this Instagram, because they're like, Tom Hanks was on the flight logs with Epstein, and then other people are like, so was Trump.
We have pictures with him.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, you can't prove that anything happened with Trump. And it's like, well, you can't prove anything happened with anybody. It's flight logs. Yeah. It's on the internet. Who knows if it's even accurate?
But even that was even Epstein's reputation was well known at the time that the current president of the United States was palling around with him. He wasn't the only one. The Clinton family was. They called. It was so well known. They I hate even saying this, but the term they use for Epstein's private jet, which he would charter these powerful people to his own private island, they call it the Lolita Express after the movie about an older person who falls in love with an underage girl. I mean, that was just sort of the nomenclature that was floating around. This isn't some new thing. It's just now that, all these conspiracies have sort of converged. Look, man, I think it's important to examine people's, powerful people's relationship with people like Jeffrey Epstein, who has been exposed. I mean, he's a convicted sex offender.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Like these aren't, this isn't conjecture. He was convicted of this. Even after his conviction, he was still palling around with people like Prince Andrew, like Donald Trump, and like Bill Clinton. And, apparently, in those flight logs that were leaked in the Podesta emails, a lot of Hollywood people. So I do think, some of the concerns are not totally unfounded, but when they all weave themselves in this web of conspiracy that lets some people off the hook and not others, it gets really distorted, especially when they start tying in, like I said, these kind of anti-Semitic dog whistles about globalists and things like that.
Have y'all watched the documentary on Netflix about Epstein?
I've seen some of it.
Sure.
It's hard to watch.
I didn't know most of this. Again, I was just posting a helpful tip to be a good citizen from one of America's dads. You know what I'm saying?
Man got blindsided by the...
You're like saying, just wear a mask.
Dude, hey, you know what I learned in those comments? Relevant is now funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Let's go! We get this money! Let's
free
go!
money, yo! Free money! Let's take it.
Can they fund me, bro?
That's
I'm
what
trying to put an album out.
The person who said that, I said, do you have a contact for free money there? Because sign me up. And then they're like, no money is free if there's strings attached. And I'm like, I'll take the strings. Give me the...
Put me in the game. What I gotta do? Do I gotta sacrifice a goat? What you need, bro? I'm down, dog.
Oh my goodness. But seriously, it went all day yesterday. It totally derailed my day. I had a busy day, and all I could do was, hey, you know what my favorite function is? And maybe I shouldn't play this hand publicly, but I'm going to tell y'all. For public accounts, there's a new function on Instagram in the last year called restrict. If you unfollow somebody or block somebody, they know it, right? So if you mute somebody, they know it. Okay, so this thing called restrict is if somebody's in your comments and they're just terrible, you can slide and hit restrict. They still follow you. Everything's fine. They can still post on your thing, but only they see their comment. So they're just they're hollering in an echo chamber. So
That's amazing.
What's beautiful about what happened yesterday is like whack-a-mole. All of them poked their heads up. All the crazies and our followers poked their heads up, and I was able to go restrict. They have no clue. They think they're like telling us how it is, and nobody sees it, dude. It's hilarious. I see it because it's all restricted comments, but the public doesn't, and they think they got us. Oh, it's great, dude. Thank you, Instagram, for restrict.
Game.
Yeah.
I still like the block, though. I would keep it honest. Like, I love when you're like, I thought I was following Derek and I'm about to go argue. And it's like, I can't get to his page. Like,
no, here's what I learned, though. Here's what I learned, though. When the internet came after me last fall, I vanished off social media. And that inflamed things. Like, people were wanting to tag me and I was gone and they weren't able to. And so therefore it made it worse, is what I was told. So this restricting is they can vent, they can say whatever they want to you, and nobody saw it. And that's think
awesome.
So now they're not mad at, Derek blocked me, because they'll screenshot that and be like, yeah, Derek blocked me because he can't handle me. Right. Yeah. So now they don't. It just deflates everything, dude.
It's the self-own. They own themselves.
Yeah. Dude, it's the most beautiful thing ever. Thank you, Instagram.
Thank you, Instagram.
Shout out. And side note, I'm not going to sacrifice a goat, because just in case I come across $1 million, then they're going to be like, see? He's the Illuminati. But you know what I'm saying?
Here's my, another beef I have with the Q thing is they've taken all the fun out of conspiracies. I used to really like going down conspiracy rabbit holes because it was all fun and games. Like, I didn't feel like I was being morally compromised if I wanted to look at if Stanley Kubrick had accidentally faked the moon landing and used the Shining as his subtle confession. That's just a fun rabbit hole. I mean, the whole documentary documentary about it. It was a great time. You know, you could do all those type of interesting conspiracy theories, and it was all fun and games. And then Q comes along and makes it all dark and racist and politically twisted. It's like, I don't even want to be involved in conspiracies anymore. I don't even want to entertain them because Q has messed it up for everybody with the dark ramblings. You know?
And what I was gonna say is, what's crazy is people like, you know, like, okay, the moon landing thing, you know, whether you believe it or not, you're not going to take a assault rifle to kick in NASA's door. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just like, all right, you know, maybe not. They were faking it. But this is like so dark. It prompted a man to take an assault rifle to go kick the door in a Chuck E. Cheese. I'm like, dog, you got to chill.
The most violent thing that ever happened was the moon landing is one of the great videos on the internet where Buzz Aldrin, who in the video is like 90, is leaving like a space convention or something. And this guy comes up with a video camera and a microphone and he's not physically assaulted, but he's getting right up in Buzz Aldrin's face, you know, telling, why did you lie to the American people? You never went to the moon. Yeah. And 90-year-old Buzz Aldrin just socks him right in the kisser. And it wasn't like a violent, like, knockout punch. It was like a 90-year-old man just walloping some guy. It was just a tough lesson learned, little street justice that was ultimately harmless. And taking all the fun of that. I want to see 90-year-old Buzz Aldrin put up his dukes with conspiracy theorists, and now I can't enjoy that stuff anymore.
All right, can I say one thing before we move on? Okay, so speaking of taking the fun out of stuff, last week on the podcast, I talked about all my stupid shenanigans with fireworks, July 4th weekend.
Did you get hurt, Cameron?
Uh-oh.
No.
Okay.
But
I'm glad.
One of our friends, very famously, very publicly this weekend, Pastor Levi Lusko was shooting off July 4th fireworks with his family, and something went wrong and one shot into his eye, and he lost his sight, was in the hospital. He's been posting about it on Instagram. He looks terrible. He's got this crazy eye patch. He's getting his sight back eventually, but like it was really scary there for a while. And talk about taking the fun out of being stupid with fireworks. I'm like looking at Levi. I texted Levi yesterday and I was like, hey man, you want to come on our show and tell us the funny story of the firework going wrong? He's not on the show today. I don't think he's ready to joke around about it yet. So
not yet.
Bro, you're tripping. This man is out here with one eye.
Who last week was like, you guys need to be careful because somebody's going to shoot their eye out.
Right. It was me. You know how I found out about it?
That's
because over the weekend, I kept getting tagged on social media on Levi's posts. Levi was talking about what happened to him, and people who listen to this podcast were tagging me like, you're an idiot. Look at what happened to Levi. So
see, you know, we tried to tell him, didn't we?
It was we tried to tell you.
Okay, wait. From speaking of last week's show, listen, did anybody watch Hamilton?
Yes. Yeah.
You did? Did you like it?
I'll tell you this. When the mixtape came out, just music only, a couple, 4 or 5 years ago, I wasn't a fan. We talked about it quite a bit on this podcast. It was presented as a hip hop mixtape. I just didn't like Lynn's rapping. I didn't like this. It wasn't musically, I didn't think it was that good from a hip hop perspective. Seeing the theater experience and seeing how incredibly well written it is and performed and everything, I was blown away. It was so good. It was phenomenal. I get it. I do think it's interesting, the difference, because I was watching afterwards, there was like current interviews, like Zoom interviews with Lynn and the cast and stuff. And they were talking about the difference of when he wrote it during the Obama era and now how it plays. And a lot of people are experiencing it for the first time in the Trump era. And he was talking about, like, for him, that he connected to it as an immigrant story. As an immigrant, Hamilton, basically came to the U.S. as an orphan immigrant from the islands, and he had to work 4 times as hard to get half as far. He put himself through school with his pen. He identified with that, which was, now it reads totally differently with the racial injustice and racial tension stuff. And he's getting shellacked right now online about kind of whitewashing the slavery storyline in Hamilton, because people are seeing it now with a different perspective, and he's like, listen, I took 50 years of content and crammed it into 2.5 hours of music. It is fair game for you to criticize what I put in and what I left out, so go for it. And under this, like basically he was saying if he had to write Hamilton today, it wouldn't have been what he wrote, then. which is interesting. But I thought it was a phenomenal piece. I thought I get it now, Jamie, and I appreciate I appreciate it as a piece of theater.
It put Disney Plus's app downloads up 74% over the weekend.
Whoa there.
But here's the genius of it. 2 weeks ago, they ended their week-long free trials.
Oh, so everyone had to purchase.
Everybody had to pay for a month, which was like, and then it's auto renew. And
then they're going to get in.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, Disney's not dumb.
But I mean, like $7. I mean, like if you're going to rent a movie, it's $7. And you get a whole month of stuff, So anyway,
I do appreciate Lin-Manuel Miranda's response that, hey, me too. Fair criticism, fair, and I wish more creatives. I mean, I think more are kind of coming around to that, but like, for a long time, someone like Tina Fey was dismissive of criticisms of the use of
blackface and stuff.
And just kind of racial stereotypes that kind of walk the line between satire. It kind of walked the line between laughing with and laughing at. And for a long time, she was very dismissive and kind of defensive. Yeah. But I do feel like a lot of artists, not enough, but a lot are kind of coming around to being like, that's fair criticism. Artists are people too, and they're going to have oversights and they're going to kind of make
blind spots
creative judgments and things like that. And but I think that ultimately, if you're putting something out there into public and you're a public figure, I think you kind of open yourselves up to public criticism, public comment, and to see someone like Lin-Manuel Miranda kind of take the high road and be like, that's fair. That's not
things
unfair.
Just as society evolves and our lenses shift, art is perceived differently. I mean, again, going back to when he wrote this 9 years ago to today. He wouldn't have created the same piece if he started all over again, and it's even going through like Disney. I mean, Disney has a very problematic past with, in the 30s, 40s and 50s with, especially race issues like Song of the South. Yeah. Well, Disney's not sitting there going, hey, we're just going to like sweep that under the rug. I mean, they announced this last week that like they're both at Disneyland and Disney World, the Splash Mountain ride is going to get totally revamped to remove the Song of the South storyline, Brer Rabbit and Zippity Doodah and all that. They're removing it all and they're going to make it Princess and the Frog, which is the first black princess in the story movie. And they're going to like they're owning it. They're saying, okay, just like Lynn, it's like, hey, fair criticism. Don't know why this was ever okay. And we're going to address it moving forward. So, I think this is a good thing that America is going through right now.
Mm-hmm. Derek, did you watch Hamilton? I can't remember where you stood last week. Are you a Hamilton fan or are you kind of indifferent?
Nah, I still haven't seen it yet. I'm sorry, Jamie.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. I was painting my basement though and adding trim. So I was working. Maybe I'll get to watch it this weekend.
One day, you and your wife and your kids sit down and watch it, and I think you'll like it.
I'm not going to lie. I binged Unsolved Mysteries this weekend, and I do not regret it because just when that music, no, they did it. They redid it. There's a new one. There's 6 new episodes, and just when that music comes on, like literally, I get chills. I'm like looking behind me. I got to check to make sure the doors are locked. Okay, like I'm not like when I was a kid. Just that Clark in post put in the Unsolved Mystery music right here. When this would play and Robert Stack's voice, if you or someone knows the whereabouts of stuff, it's like, how would I know the whereabouts? They died, they disappeared 20 years ago in a swamp and no one's seen them since. Who would know?
Somebody knows though.
Yeah,
somebody saw it.
You
know who knows it? Q knows.
Q knows. Did you guys watch Unsolved Mysteries?
I can't watch that stuff because of Q and all this now. Now it's all tainted.
Derek, Jamie, Unsolved Mysteries, Clark, anybody?
I'm sure that I did. I love shows like that.
As a kid, for sure.
Did you guys watch the new one yet, though?
No.
Nah, I'm good.
I binged it. I'll
watch it. I like stuff like that.
Mainline it right in the veins. Give me the Unsolved Mysteries. I need them.
But what is satisfying about it, Jesse? There's no payoff. It's not like, and then we caught the guy.
Exactly. Like I listen to all these, like, when you listen to like some of these long form like it's the thing is like, if I just want a true crime story, last time I checked, that's about 75% of podcasts that exist right now.
I like true crime. I like cold case files that eventually a DNA swab. like solved it.
I like to put myself in the perspective of it's terrifying. It makes it more scary that we don't know what happened. That's what I like, the kind of like weird, unsolved element of it. Like I said, in just the way they shot it, like the old one had that voiceover narration of like, of Robert Stack, the most terrifying. I still remember how the old one used to open. Like it was just like a foggy TV set, and out strolls Robert Stack, hands in his pockets. It's like for some reason this TV set is in a foggy graveyard, and Robert Stack comes on and he tells us that a busload of people vanished 30 years ago, and all that's left was a pile of shoes, and we got to figure it out. Like let's get everyone around the TV and let's get our Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, on and figure this thing out. I love it.
Where do I watch this? On Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. It's the big old billboard at the top of my algorithm, like it has been for over a week. I'm like, what part of my algorithm makes you think I want Unsolved Mystery? The other thing that's been on the top of my algorithm is this like Southern Explosions or something. It's like this show where they test survival gear and they just blow stuff up. I'm like,
they listen to the podcast, bro. Yeah, it's a fireworks podcast.
No,
Netflix is listening to this podcast.
No, Cameron, they're factoring in like IP address into their algorithm. And Florida, it's just like, all right, put that Southern show right on the top. The whole
this dude went to fireworks.com and he lives in Florida. Southern Explosion or whatever it's called.
The algorithm made this show for you.
All right, well, moving the show along. Normally we would have the hot list right here, but our friend Tyler Huckabee is away on a family matter today, and he will be back on the show next week, we hope. So with that, we'll take a break and come back. Stay tuned. Up next, N.T. Wright joins us.
Happiness in a quick phone. I'm drinking it down. I just want to drown. I know I can be happiness in a quick phone. But neither can you. So what you may do, I know I can be.
You're listening to Alfie Templeman. The song is Happiness in Liquid Form. Well, this episode is brought to you by Bombas. Bombas makes the most comfortable socks in the history of feet. They've reimagined every little detail of the socks we wear every day to make them way more comfortable and even purposeful by giving back to the most vulnerable members of our communities. For every pair of socks you purchase, Bombas donates a pair to someone in need. The generosity of Bombas customers has allowed them to donate over 34 million pairs of socks and counting through their nationwide network of more than 3,000 giving partners. To those experiencing homelessness, these socks are a small comfort that make a big difference. Give a pair when you buy a pair and get 20% off your first purchase at bombas.com/relevant. That's BOMBAS.com/relevant for 20% off your first purchase. Bombas.com/relevant. Well, N.T. Wright is an author and scholar who has written over 70 books and is respected around the world for his work in academics and theology. He sat down with our very own Tyler Huckabee this week to talk about the proper Christian response to lockdown and how he feels about those C.S. Lewis comparisons. Here's part of our conversation with N.T. Wright.
So in your book, one of the things that you talk about as a necessary work for the church during this pandemic is to get back to observing times of lament. I've been fortunate to talk to a lot of Christian leaders over the past few years. This is something that comes up a lot. I feel like there's been a push to try to reinstitute lament as a regular practice for the church, but it just doesn't really seem to have caught on. Do you have any idea if there's like a hesitancy there and why that would be?
I think there is. I mean, I do know some churches in North America and Britain where they have learned to do lament well, particularly in places where there's been major social tension and so on. I think of one congregation I know in Toronto, which has done a lot of work with native Canadians who've come to the big city and have fallen on hard times. And sometimes the only thing to do is just lament at the plight of these people going back centuries, etc. And then, of course, to protest. But lament is the first and most important thing. And you're absolutely right. I was talking to one of the senior leaders in the Church of England a few weeks ago about this, and he said, Tom, the church doesn't do lament very well, but it doesn't do celebration very well either. He said what the church mostly does is just complacency. And I thought, ouch, I think he's right. And I think this is part of living in what we call the modern world, the post-Enlightenment modern Western world, where we just assume that everything is going to be reasonably comfortable. So if something really bad happens, well, maybe we'll shed a tear and maybe we'll put our arm around somebody's shoulders and say, well, we'll get through this or whatever. But really the aim is just to push it to one side, say, that was very nasty, but now let's move on. The ancient world would have known better than that. And the ancient Jewish world would have known better than that. They knew about mourning. They knew about crying. A lot of our problems in society, I think, come because we don't have the courage to face up to the terrible things that have happened and that are still happening. And so we are then condemned to repeat them. Somebody was saying in our newspapers this morning, because we've just had this whole Black Lives Matter movement all about pulling down statues of wicked people from a few hundred years ago, or maybe 100 years ago. And somebody's saying, hang on, if we just pull down those statues, we're in danger of forgetting. We're in danger of pretending that bad things never happened, that we've always been good people. And that maybe we need to be reminded of just how complicated our history is. Now, I'm not pronouncing on that issue, but just to say human life is more dark and more complicated than many in the modern world, including many Christians in the modern world, would like to imagine.
So lament is one of the things that your book talks about. Can you tell me about some of the other things that you think the church needs to start doing during the coronavirus pandemic, what the role of Christians should be right now?
One of the things that I was really struck by when I was working on this book is a passage in T.S. Eliot's Four Quartets, the great poem written during the Second World War, when Eliot realized that all the kind of knee-jerk reactions of what we should hope for in terms of victory in the war or whatever weren't getting to the heart of the darkness. It was just, please let's stop the nonsense and go back to life as normal. And he says, and he's quoting from a great Christian writer from an earlier century, he says, I said to my soul, be still and wait without hope, for hope would be hope for the wrong thing. Wait without thought, for you are not yet ready for thought. That's hugely important, because I think one of the things I detected was, and I've seen this again and again actually, is that people were wanting to find a rationalist explanation. We can see why God is doing this. And the line would go, God must be sovereign, so he's either decreed this or at least allowed it. And if we understand God, we ought to be able to see why he's decreed it or allowed it. And so there's no mystery anymore. We just get on. Okay, here it is. Here's the answer. And Eliot is saying to us, and I think the Psalms are saying to us, not so fast. Let's have some humility here. Let's have a season of waiting and lamenting and struggling. And out of that may come something which at the moment we are morally and emotionally incapable of seeing. And it might, I don't want to be too optimistic. Some people have been saying, we will emerge from this as a kinder, wiser society. Well, don't hold your breath. We've had other crises before. We had 9/11. We had the banking crash 10 or 12 years ago. And we didn't actually emerge from either of those as a kinder, wiser society. We're just more confused and more angry about all sorts of things and more worried. And it would be wonderful to think that we might learn some lessons from this. And maybe we still will, but they won't come from the knee-jerk reactions. So the point about the Romans 8 passage is that when the Spirit is groaning within us, with inarticulate groanings, the next verse is crucial. Romans 8:28, people have often quoted it in the King James Version, where it says that we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. That's not what the Greek that Paul wrote means. What Paul wrote means we know that God works all things together for good through those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. And that through goes with that sense of living with the pain and the puzzle and allowing the Holy Spirit to lament within us. That's what it means to be caught up in the love of God, not just in a blissful being bathed in God's love, though that happens from time to time, but the love of God is the anguished love of God for his wounded and struggling world. That's what we can see in the story of Jesus weeping at the tomb of his friend. That's what we can see in the Garden of Gethsemane. This Christian faith thing is a lot more mysterious and often a lot more dark than we in the modern West have wanted to make it. And it's by inhabiting that kind of space that then God may work through his people in quite new ways. But in the nature of the case, we at the moment can't see too much of what that might be.
As I'm sure you know, some Christians have reacted pretty negatively to the idea of a government mandate that says Christians shouldn't meet together for church anymore. How do you think that we should feel about the idea of state mandated distanced services?
Okay, this is hard. This is a sort of fasting. You know, I love praying in church. I love corporate worship. I love the Eucharist. And I miss all of that very badly. But it's like being on a desert island. Okay, we're cast on the desert island. God is well capable of meeting us there. Somebody told me the other day about a church which had a sign outside saying, the church is closed, but God is doing home visits. In other words, you know, God is not restricted by this. And God is out and about doing stuff, and we will meet again when we meet again. But it's important to be wise about how we do that.
Last question. Something that I've heard, and I think we've even talked about it maybe around the relevant offices a few times, is the idea of you and your writings being sort of a modern day C.S. Lewis. Have you heard that? And how do you feel about that comparison?
Well, there's many, many differences, of course. I mean, he was Irish, I'm English, though he lived here in Oxford for many years. And when I say here, I'm pointing down the road, where the room that he had was about 300 or 400 yards just down the street here. And when he went to have lunch in the pub with his friends Tolkien and Dyson and so on, he would have walked right along the street outside the house where I'm speaking to you from now. So this place does have a lot of Lewis about it. Likewise, Lewis was soaked in the classics as a young man, which I was as well, the Greek and Latin classics. And so he came from there. But Lewis was basically a medievalist, and I'm basically a New Testament scholar. There's a big difference there. However, for whatever reason, Lewis was a great writer, and I've learned a huge amount from him. And I don't think anyone will match his English prose. But I learned from him that you can actually talk about big philosophical and theological issues in clear, sharp English prose. And that's what I've always strived to do. And so insofar as I've had any success from that, I just defer to the master, even though, of course, I disagree with some of his conclusions. And he wasn't a professional theologian, and sometimes I think, you missed a point there, or didn't quite catch that. But heavens, he gave us so much, and I should be, unworthy to undo the laces of his shoes.
That was N.T. Wright. To see the rest of that conversation, head over to relevantmagazine.com. Stay tuned. Up next, it's Slices.
If I could kiss you one more time, would it make everything alright? Or would it just make me alive? I didn't wanna answer tonight,
You're listening to Hatchie. The song is Without a Blush. Okay, it's time for
Slices.
What do you have, Jesse?
All right, but before I get into my slice, quick around the horn here. Derek, we'll start with you. Favorite holiday?
Favorite holiday?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think it probably would have to be Memorial Day, barbecue day for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
how's that different than July 4th or Labor Day?
Because black people made it, so
done.
Nah, I rock with Memorial Day though, man. It's because I don't feel like there's no pressure. Like it's just like I don't have to buy anybody any gifts. I just go outside, barbecue. Shout out to the all of the armed forces people. Show love to them. Like I got a lot of people in my family that served in the armed forces. So show a lot of love to them.
So it's personal to the family. I like that.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of my friends, like my business partner Doc Watson. He's a military vet. A lot of our staff military vets. So it's always love for Memorial Day.
Your business partner is named Doc. I love it.
Doc, yes, sir.
That is very cool.
That's
that
a cool
gives
name.
him that if I were to manufacture someone who would want to partner with me in some sort of business, and I could rank the top 5 names, number 1 would be Doc.
Doc.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, it just feels very authoritative,
dude. The last 2 nights, speaking of Doc, the last 2 nights, I've introduced my son Cohen to Back to the Future.
Yeah, so on Netflix now.
We watched Back to the Future 1 2 nights ago. We watched Back to the Future 2 last night. And we're gonna watch Back to the Future 3 tonight. But Doc,
much fun, bro.
Yep,
so much fun, bro.
He wasn't feeling number 2. I thought he'd like number 2.
Number 2 is my favorite one. That's the best one.
But here's the deal.
Here's
the deal. I remembered it the same way as well because I loved the 2015 future predictions being so wrong and stuff.
Right.
But they're only in the future for like a quarter of the movie. They spend the bulk of it in the messed up 85 and then going back to 55, which is just replaying the first movie. And then they ended it with to be continued, and they spend 3 minutes showing you clips of the Wild West in the movie.
Well, it's because they shot them both at the same time.
Yeah,
famously.
and so it's like all of a sudden you're watching it going, this is not a standalone movie. It's just a kind of middle piece. It actually isn't as satisfying as you remember.
You know, another piece of again, this is worthless knowledge to anyone. But you know, another piece of Back to the Future trilogy, in addition to them shooting,
it was actually all about a pedophilia ring that they're trying to get back in time and unearth.
Coded. It's a deep tangle web. Yeah. No, but they actually had cast another 80s actor in the role. They wanted Michael J. Fox, but he was busy playing Michael P. Keaton or his character on Family Ties.
Yeah.
And so they hired another actor, and they shot for like a month. They had a huge chunk of the movie done, and the director went to the studio and was like, it's just not working. He's not our Marty McFly. So a month in, they threw out all the footage, and they ended up rescheduling to get Michael J. Fox. So there you go.
Do you know who the actor was?
Who was it?
I'll look it up while I'm delivering my slice.
Kirk Cameron?
Yeah,
an 80s actor.
It's Cameron's alternate life. He was originally cast in Back to the Future.
I'm trying to think of the dude in the actors in the 80s and all those sitcoms we used to watch.
I'll pull it up live. So, Jamie, real quick, what's your favorite holiday?
Oh, Thanksgiving, because I think of my grandmother's dressing. I just love Thanksgiving dressing.
She made dressing?
I love food.
She don't make stuffing?
No, she made dressing.
Where's she from? She's from the South, Texas.
She was in Texas, yeah. Well, she's passed away. That was weird, but yes, but her dressing, yes, is so good.
Man, that sounds oof.
Ooh, I love Thanksgiving food. Turkey and dressing and gravy is the best.
Cameron, favorite holiday?
I mean, Christmas. I mean, just not for gifts and all the music and the fires and the family. No, just because I'm a good Christian and I want to celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Clark, let's give some real talk, man. I mean, it's Christmas is great and all. What's your favorite holiday?
Oh man, I might have to say Thanksgiving for sure.
Really,
dude? You guys are.
What's yours?
It's just a meal. Just go down to Golden Corral and have Thanksgiving every weekend.
Okay,
who cares?
it's not just a meal when your grandma makes it.
If you go to Golden Corral on Thanksgiving, you are asking for it.
Hey, here's how little my family celebrates Thanksgiving. The last 10 years, we've gone to restaurants. My mom doesn't even bother to cook anymore. She just gets reservations.
We took our whole family to Mexico this year for Thanksgiving, like just our immediate family. So we didn't even see my parents or anything. But
that sounds fun.
I like going to Mexico every year for Thanksgiving. Yeah.
So I found this out. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was on tour a couple years ago, and Cracker Barrel will cater your Thanksgiving meal. Mm-hmm. Turkey and all. Is that a thing? I didn't know. Is that a common thing?
Yeah, you can pick it up.
That's what my mom's been doing. She first did the catering at the house because she didn't want to cook. And then the last 4 or 5 years, she's just gotten reservations at fancy restaurants. So
bro,
it's
I'm
just
gonna keep it gangster, bro. You bring some Cracker Barrel to my crib on Thanksgiving. It's all bad, bro. It's all bad. We gonna cook you. We gotta cook you.
Your Cracker Barrel. The funny thing about when they deliver the Cracker Barrel, it just comes in a big like barrel, like a big vat, and you just have to fish things out of gravy and slop it all. You don't even know what you're serving to people. It's just things slopped out of a gravy vat. Okay, so all of you answered incorrectly. The only correct answer is Halloween because it's awesome. You get to dress up. You get to go awesome costume parties. You get to eat candy. You get to eat as much candy. No judgment. Halloween is awesome. I found 2 stories from Southeast Asia that may solve this whole mask thing that we're in right now. You know, we've got videos. Seems like every day you got another video of some white lady freaking out at a Trader Joe's because she has to wear a mask.
Costco recently who lost his mind.
There was a dude too.
Yes.
You're threatening me.
Oh my gosh. I was so nervous watching it.
I get nervous every one of those. They're totally uncomfortable. And a lot of people, you know, there's all this tension around masks. And I think I'm going to read you 2 brief news stories, both from Reuters International Reporting, both taking place in Southeast Asia. The first comes from Indonesia, where volunteers around the city are handing out things like disinfectant. There's masks. They're displaying signs that say wear mask, wash your hands, stay alert, and they're doing it walking around the city dressed as superheroes.
Okay.
So they have like Spider-Man mask on. They're straight up in mask and they're going around. And some of them are actually, you know, in some countries they're like spraying disinfectant, this kind of fog into the streets, but they're doing it dressed up as superheroes. Now in the Philippines, another country in that region that's also being kind of hit hard by the pandemic, they are sending out like in these sort of like officials that are like the enforcement squads, and they are handing out hand sanitizers. They're handing out masks. They're also just basic supplies for people who've been quarantined for a while and haven't been able to work regularly. But instead of going out in the streets with like their scary mask and like hazmat stuff, they're doing it as Star Wars characters like Darth Vader and like stormtroopers. So kids get really excited when they see them walking down the street handing out stuff, and it's the superhero masks that are protecting them instead of little cloth masks. So here's my point. Okay. I was thinking about this story a lot, and I was thinking about that dude totally freaking out in a Home Depot because someone politely asked him to put a mask on, and literally like had a straight up freak out attack for no reason, right? I think this could all be resolved, because how many people do you see freaking out on Halloween night? No one, because it's awesome and it's our greatest holiday. We walk the streets dressed in mask. You know, you're telling me that my, mask of, like Thor or something that has plastic, it's got 2 tiny eye holes. You're telling me that's not more protective than a piece of cloth? I think, one, this would help more people, and it would make going to the grocery store way more fun. If everyone's just straight up in Halloween mask walking around, it's hard to get mad at anyone. How are you going to yell at somebody?
I hate to break it to you, Jesse. I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt your rant, bro, but that to me sounds like The Purge.
Okay,
bro, like, dog, I'm just gonna keep it gut, dog. If you walk up to me and it's just like a whole bunch of Bill Clinton mask and all that stuff, I'm like I'm good, bro. That sounds like The Purge, man. Let's just give me the cloth mask, bro. Keep it basic. All that's scary.
What about funny? What about funny mask? What about it's like the mask from the Jim Carrey movie, The Mask, where it's just a big grinning, hilarious
face? Terrifying thing of all time, bro.
Yeah. Though you know what those QAnon people would do. Be like, fine, we'll wear your mask. We'll abide by your rules, and they all come out in Batman masks. Where literally the only thing exposed is the nose and the mouth. You know, you happy now? You happy now?
The nose.
Bro,
that would be funny.
You trying to kick the purge off in the United States? If you were to have all those different masks, it would be crazy.
Jesse, did you see that video, that photo on an airplane that went viral a couple days ago, where a guy was wearing a MAGA hat on a plane? And, you know, planes, you have to have a mask on, right?
Yeah.
And so he's sitting in a seat, and the person next to him took a picture of him. He's sitting there in his MAGA hat, and he took his face mask, and instead of having it over his nose and mouth, he put it over his eyes as a sleeping mask.
Oh my gosh.
Exposing his nose and mouth with his MAGA hat on. You're not going to tell me how to wear my mask. I'm going to wear it, but you're not going to tell me how.
I like that guy.
I still am baffled how masks became this politicized thing. But like I said, my solution.
It's Q, man. I learned yesterday it's part of the plandemic. It is
plandemic.
The plandemic. Bill Gates is going to. So they're trying. What it is if they fool the masses into believing there's a pandemic and everybody has to pay Bill Gates to get a vaccine, then that enriches Bill Gates and stuff like that.
And he's a part of this pedophile ring. Or whatever
he's part of the.
He's like an overlord, a deep state overlord.
Yeah, he's part of the deep state.
Yeah,
so the deep state, and Fauci's part of the deep state, and everybody. And so the whole Trump thing of standing up to science, they're saying it's because he's standing up to the deep state conspiracy. So it's all money, it's all hype, it's fear. Deep state is trying to use fear to get you to be sheep, and so. Trump saying don't wear the mask is like don't buy into the fake. You know what I mean? It's this
how could ardent supporters of this conspiracy and this administration honestly believe that fear and blind allegiance to a cult-like figure is even possible? How could Trump supporters possibly believe that? I don't know. It seems so outside the character. Okay, Eric Stoltz, a character actor who's not all that well known, was originally cast as Marty McFly. Hey, good for him. He's had a pretty nice career since then on various. He did a stint. He was on
manager at Golden Corral.
He was on an episode of Law and Order SVU.
Oh, I love that.
He's been working consistently.
He's a working actor.
He's a character actor. You know what I'm saying? He's been working very consistently since the release.
How long did it take him to recover from what happened to him? You got cast in this major Universal Studios movie. You're a month into filming. This is your moment. And then they shut down the whole production, fire you, start over, and it becomes a huge thing because they got rid of you.
It's like Pete Best.
How do you come back from that?
Well, it's like the Pete Best syndrome. Pete Best was the original drummer for the Beatles, and they were this hot band in the UK scene, and they got a manager, and they're like, "Hey, we love it. We think the drummer needs a different look," and they brought in Ringo Starr, fired Pete Best, and they're playing Ed Sullivan like a couple weeks later, and they become the biggest band in the world. And Pete Best is like, "What the heck, man? I've been playing in pubs in Liverpool for like a year with you guys.
Yeah. It's not my fault."
Yeah. How do you think he feels?
So close.
Or Pete Best.
All right. What do you have, Jamie?
Okay, so everyone knows Colin Kaepernick and the activist he's become since 2016 when he was playing for the 49ers. I don't know why I need to give anyone a backstory because everyone knows what's going on here. But just recently, Netflix announced that Colin and filmmaker Ava DuVernay, is that how you say her name?
DuVernay, yeah.
DuVernay, which she's responsible for some amazing films. They're teaming up for a scripted limited series titled Colin in Black and White. And so Kaepernick's going to narrate it. It's going to focus on his formative high school years, which led to a lot of insight to the acts and experiences that he's going through today to becoming an activist that he is today. So Colin Kaepernick, I don't know if you guys know this, you might, but he was adopted when he was born and grew up with two white parents. And so he says that often we see race and black stories portrayed through a white lens. And about this new series that he's doing, they're going to seek to give a new perspective to the differing realities that black people face. So I'm excited about this 6-part series that Ava and Colin are doing together. And I'm excited to see, I always enjoy seeing the backstory to people's lives. Like, I want to know, how did Colin become who he is today? And so those type of movies, documentaries always entice me. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be dope. Yeah.
It's going to be dope. Can I tell y'all a story about what happened to my family after this Kaepernick thing?
Yeah.
Okay, get ready get ready. So 2016, when this all went down, my boys were in like 6th grade, something like that. Yeah, 6th grade. And we were at our high school football game, and all of the little league football players got to run through the tunnel onto the field. You know what I mean? Like, it's so exciting. Small town football. Football's life here in Texas, and they get to run through. And so they run through, and my boys, who, if you don't know, they're both joined our family through adoption. One is Haitian and one's biracial. So that sets up the stage for what I'm about to tell you. They get home that night, you guys, and we're just in the kitchen casually talking, myself, my husband, and my 2 boys. And this is what they told me. They told me that when the national anthem came on, that a man who is the father to one of their classmates looked at both of them and said, "You boys better not kneel during this national anthem."
Wow.
Isn't that just a random person looked at my boys. Who has the nerve to do that?
What was their response to that?
They were confused about why he would do that. They both watch. We obviously love football in our house. And so they both watch it. One of my sons was a little bit more educated about what's going on at the time, just because he likes watching football more than the other. But they just kind of nonchalantly mentioned it to us. And Aaron and I were hot. I mean, so angry about that. And we expressed our anger to them, but we didn't want to really express. I don't know. It was a weird moment. But guys, about a year and a half later, I saw that man. And I looked at him and I sat down next to him at a basketball game and I said, "Hey, you don't know who I am, but my sons, Amos and Deacon, they told me that you said this at a football game." And he's like, "I didn't say that." And I'm like, "Listen, don't call my kids a liar and don't ever talk to my boys ever again." And then I stood up and walked off and I texted my friend and I was like, "I have never felt."
Did you have an AK strapped across your chest?
I felt like I could take on the entire world when I walked away from that man. And I was like, "I am Mama Bear and don't mess with my kids." Yeah. But y'all, isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I'm sorry, Jamie.
He has a high level of clown energy emitting from him. That guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a high level of clown energy.
That it's so frustrating, and I have, like Derek, have a lot of people in my family have served in the armed forces. I have family that are active duty right now. I have neighbors who I had some over yesterday who's that were hanging out with my wife, whose husbands are currently deployed, and I even though I'm reasonably close to that community, I don't see like the conflict there. Like, I feel like, originally Colin Kaepernick, crafted his demonstration on the advice of a veteran who said, it's more respectful to kneel than to stay seated. And I think this is a good way to kind of get visibility to your calls in a way that is still kind of, respectful to those who have concerns, but it is a visible way to express peacefully your displeasure with the current criminal justice system. It's so it's incredibly frustrating that that's still.
It's weird because, and my thing is, okay, no kneeling, no this, no that, no this, no that. It's like, okay, what do you want Black people to do to express their displeasure with America? Cool. It's clear that there's nothing. You know what I mean? Because, if it's a protest, they're getting in the way. Why are they disrupting people? Then it turns into riots. They're burning stuff down. Then it's kneeling peacefully. It's like, really what happens is I just feel like people are just like, Black people, just accept this doo-doo sandwich we gave you and just don't express anything. Like, there's literally no way that the type of people that give, because every person I know that's been in the military or that are in the military, they have two perspectives. They're either like, hey, I went to war so you would have that right to protest. They're either like that, or they're like, hey, it's no big deal at all. Like, we don't see the connection between a person kneeling and you hating the armed forces. That's something that I think people that are frustrated with Black people protesting for their rights, they find a way to discredit the protest as opposed to listen to them. Like, to me, I'm like, it's just foolish. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I do think, and I'm excited, I've seen some movement towards the NFL, kind of apologizing to Kaepernick in a kind, so I'm hopeful and I'm thankful for him, being willing to take that stand per se, 4 years ago. And now look where we are. And I think that we can look back on Colin and say, man, he was willing to forego. I mean, it cost him his career, and that he had to have known that going in. And I think it also, whenever I hear people so upset about this, that his protest is, thinking less of our flag or our country. And I'm just like, that type of devotion to a flag, an anthem, idolatry, a country is scary to me. It's really scary to me that he wouldn't be able to peacefully protest, and you're upset that he's like disrespecting a flag. It doesn't make sense to me.
What's interesting to me is the shift. So in 2016, when he started taking a knee, all this controversy and the NFL was tamped this thing down, and like whatever. Yeah. And now sports leagues are listening, because things have changed. And so like there's two interesting examples. The NFL, if it comes back this fall, has already announced that game 1, they're going to play what's dubbed the Black National Anthem at the beginning of the first game of the season. And they've been putting their money where their mouth is about the league is supporting like racial justice initiatives and things like that. And so like, hey, good. It took them a long time. I'm not an NFL guy. I think Goodell handled it horribly. But hey, at least there's some shift happening. Yeah. But have you heard about what's going to happen with the NBA in a couple weeks? So it's coming back in Orlando. They're doing this bubble tournament thing to finish out the season. And a lot of the players and the Players Association has been working with the league behind the scenes over the last month to say, there was some tension of like, should we come back and entertain people with basketball when this is happening in our country? Mm-hmm. And the players and the league work together to say, well, why don't we use this platform to, have our voices be heard and enact change? So they're doing things like allowing and working with and propelling the players to use the platform of the NBA coming back to, really raise these issues that America needs to be talking about. So down to they're letting players put phrases and things on their jersey instead of their name. Mm-hmm. And, they're like the pregame clothes will be talking about justice issues. And I mean, it's cool that league is actually saying, hey, listen, we can actually use this to enact positive change in our society. So good for them.
I saw the WNBA women were putting Breonna Taylor's name on their jerseys.
Yeah. I rock with Adam Silver. I rock with everything that the NBA is doing.
They've always been a little, when this was happening with NFL, weren't they always a little bit, they haven't been like the NFL was with let's keep this down. They're always,
there's pictures of LeBron back in 2014 wearing I can't breathe t-shirts and warm-ups before a game. Yeah. I mean, it's like the NBA is 70% African-American players and has major diversity initiatives for front offices and coaching. And they've always cared about these issues and have encouraged their players to speak out for positive change. So good for them.
And the NBA compared to an institution like the NFL, who, are also reckoning with the team name and mascot of one of their major franchises right now. The NBA, especially kind of in the, silver era, has really kind of become a players league and has a very strong players association and players union, and really allow players a seat at the table, where the NFL, where the average career is 3 years, where there are even guaranteed contracts are not really guaranteed, where, you've had for years, the suppression of legitimate medical and scientific evidence about preventative measures for CTE that were largely ignored for PR reasons. They're fine. I mean, I do think they've come a tremendous long way, and I think on every level, football. I don't think football is ever, like a safe game, but it's certainly become safer but for a long time, the NFL was doing things to protect their bottom line at the risk of the health of the players. So to see them kind of not be the most progressive league when it comes to how they deal with players expressing their ideas about social issues, it's really unfortunate, but also not all that surprising, especially when you look at how Adam Silver has really fostered a league with the NBA that seems to have genuine concern about the players, and even the ability for the teams to say, you looked at what happened at the beginning of the year. This is ancient history now. It was a big deal at the time, but this seems like it's like I was talking to somebody today. Like, remember 5 years ago when we all got super into Tiger King? And they're like, yeah, that was like that was 8 weeks. That was 8 weeks.
Where's Tiger King?
But it was when, what's his name? The Cameron, the Houston GM. We saw him at that live
Daryl
podcast.
Morey.
Yes.
Daryl Morey, spoke out his support for the protesters in Hong Kong against this, the regime in China.
That was this year?
That was this year.
This season.
Yeah.
Wow.
And initially,
the NBA lost over $500 million of business in China because of that one tweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
And initially the NBA's response I thought was kind of weak, but I did feel like they kind of walked that back and were like, you know what? Daryl Morey is a free citizen of a free country who has friends in Hong Kong. And ultimately what he's supporting, all it said was support free speech in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
It's not even just democracy, just free speech, but the NBA eventually kind of said, hey, even though this is going to cost us, I don't know, a quarter of their business is now in China based on these broadcast rights and merchandise and things, they ultimately sided with Daryl Morey. And I think that says a lot about the league and hopefully its future as not just, source of entertainment, but a platform for some of these young athletes to express their ideas.
It seems as though the NFL treats their players almost like employees, and the NBA is trying to treat them like partners. Obviously.
Yeah. That's absolutely the
like.
difference. It's the NFL is an owners league, and the NBA is a partnership between the owners and the players. Yep. I mean, even the revenue is divided 50-50 in the NBA between the money that goes to the players and the money that goes to the teams and organizations and all that.
Yeah.
So,
All
right. What do you have, Derek?
Man, so Kanye's running for president.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Dude, he announced his party name. This morning. I love it.
The birthday party. And hold up, did we have the dance party a couple episodes ago?
Yeah.
Right. So
Wait, what is he announced his party name? What is it?
The birthday party.
Oh,
it's the birthday party. So
on.
I rock with it, man. I don't rock with it. I love Kanye. I think he saved hip hop, but I don't know if he can. But listen, if Trump could win, bro, at this point, I'm not counting anybody out. But
so first of all,
can he actually run right now?
After he tweeted it, I'm running for president over the weekend. Some credible news sources said, "Hey, everybody, by the way, there's a lot of things you have to do to get on the ballot in 50 states, and Kanye's done none of it. So first of all." Tweeting you're running for president is kind of like Michael Scott screaming, I declare bankruptcy. That doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything, Kanye. Yeah, him saying birthday party. Come on.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk is all about it.
Elon Musk Elon is rocking with him. Jamie, you said you had something?
No. I'm just saying I didn't know that you could just come out and say I'm going to be president. I want to run for president.
I declare, and I'm getting money from the Gates Foundation, so make it happen just by saying it.
He's running for president. Elon Musk is part of the squad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, he did a 4-hour interview with Forbes this week, and he says that he no longer supports Donald Trump. Right. Says he's taking the red hat off. He says that he doesn't care about siphoning black votes from Joe Biden. He's never voted in his life. He was sick with COVID-19 in February. And he thinks that the coronavirus vaccine is the mark of the beast. What else? I'm looking at
interesting platform. Hey, I will say this.
And he's basing his whole thing off of Wakanda. So, look.
Hey, I will say that.
Let's see what happens, Hey,
Darren, at least he's able to articulate a platform. At least we know what we know where he stands. It might be kind of crazy talk, but at least we know what platform he's running on. That's more than we can say for one candidate that might be on the ballot this year.
I've seen some young black leaders talking about the fact that hey, Kanye, this isn't the time for this. This isn't funny. This is actually dangerous. Don't do this. Don't mess around like this because you're just confusing what we need to be working on right now, and that's kind of where I'm kind of going. After I saw the tweet, I'm like, I hope I hope that this is just like a 24-hour blip and it goes away because, there's a lot of important stuff facing our country right now.
He said he was going to do it in 2016 though. And I remember. People forget. Here's the thing. One thing about Kanye that, I'm a Kanye fan ever since College Dropout, even before that when he was producing for Jay. The thing about Kanye is when he says he's going to do it, he does it. I don't think a lot of these antics or whatever are antics to get attention. I honestly believe he believes these things. So in 2016, when he said he was going to do this, I was like, I'm waiting okay, when's the Kanye bomb coming? It's coming. Right. So,
but can he actually?
No, I mean, not at this point. I mean, at this point, we're a two-party system, and ballots are printed.
Unless it was like a big write-in campaign or something.
That's all it could be.
I think that's going to really hurt this whole thing if this.
Well, it's
this
the
goes
whole
down.
Green Party, Ralph Nader siphoning votes from a certain party, and then the other party wins. It's like diluting the voting pool. That's what I'm hearing. Like, Kanye, this could be dangerous, dude. People writing in your name is a vote taken away from a candidate that we actually want to see get into office.
I think his thoughts are, especially not being able to be on the ballot, I think his thoughts are give the power to the people. So it's that idea, forget the two-party system. Because he's running with Elon Musk, the guy who's
that's his running mate? He said that?
I'm like, well, he's helping with the campaign. So Elon is helping with the campaign. So I think it's this whole idea of the people will decide who's the president. We're putting the power back into the people's hands. They're going to, I don't know what they're going to do. Or it could be, he may lose interest and do something different. But I mean, I don't know. It's just, have you
seen the memes where they've taken pictures of children with their hands over their in school, doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and it's a picture of the flag and the kids with the hands over their heart, and the words underneath it are Kanye lyrics, they're going to change the Pledge of Allegiance to really, really dirty Kanye lyrics. It's pretty bad, dude. It's pretty bad. What if I got bleach on my t-shirt?
Yeah.
There's this Mexican restaurant in town, El Arroyo, and they put funny signs up. Their whole account is funny, meme things on their sign. And the one they put up this week, it says this: is getting on the ballot really that Yeezy?
Oh,
okay.
It was funny, guys.
That's good.
I gotta eat there with you one day.
It's good Mexican food. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for Slices. Stay tuned. Up next, Hillsong Young and Free joins us. And you don't want to miss the segment after that. Well, you're listening to our next guest, Hillsong Young and Free. The song is their current single, Never Have I Ever. Well, today's show is also brought to you by BetterHelp. Is something keeping you from experiencing peace and happiness? With the heaviness of all that's happening in our world right now, it's vitally important to stay mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. And that's why there's BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You get connected in a safe and private online environment, which is not only great for the season we're in, but it's convenient as things get back to normal as well. You can start communicating in under 24 hours and you'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. And you can send a message to your counselor anytime. To top it all off, it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. If you want to start living a happier life today, try BetterHelp. And right now, as a Relevant podcast listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting BetterHelp.com/relevant. Join over 800,000 people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/relevant. Well, as a modern worship group from Hillsong Church in Australia, Hillsong Young and Free has released incredible albums over the years that capture the heart of worship while giving it a totally new sound. Our very own Tyler Huckabee talked with them this week about their 2020 plans and what it's like reinventing the genre of worship music. Here's part of our conversation with Hillsong Young and Free.
song Best Friends though, like, was definitely doesn't feel like all of us, like, you know, in the band, we had the song, but it was in a folder on a Dropbox called Out of the Box, which was like just felt too left of field. You know, we were like, I don't know if this is going to work lyrically. I didn't know how to even make sense of how I was going to take this in a direction that felt responsible. And then I think, you know, the music as well just felt a bit polarizing. And so we were like, let's put that in a Dropbox over here. And, you know, when it came to making the album, it was like, well, maybe we should try one song like that. And that was the song to try. And so I kind of had set it up as like, this probably isn't going to work kind of thing. So I sung it at a youth group, and they just took the youth group, like the crowd just took the chorus, and they wouldn't stop singing it over and over and over again. So like we would finish the song and like, you know, a speaker would get up and they just keep singing it over the speaker. And so we have to get back up again and play it. And it was like actually something like out of a movie, you know, it's like, that's never happened before for us. And so it definitely felt like in that moment, the song actually became their song more than it was ours.
Show me life like it's supposed to be. On oasis, here oasis, all the freedom I ever need. Now I'm alive. Oh la la, oh la la. When I let go, then I find life. When I let go, then I
What Young and Free is meant to be is this youth kind of expression of worship and this exciting live experience. And I think 3 was quite different. It was much more insular and soft, and it was important for us at the time. But we definitely like, okay, no, we're going for something more bold. We're going for something that can work live, lots of energy. And so we went with that brief, and we wrote I think 68 songs that we got to when we decided for the album. And I had in my mind, amongst the other guys who were producing the record, we were like, okay, these 15 songs or so are going to be the songs. And we had a meeting with Joel Houston with United, which we always do. So he kind of exec produces all the records at church. And so we met with him, and we met with like Michael Gutches that does the same thing, and Laura Toggs, who's our youth pastor. And we kind of went through songs. And in that meeting, all the songs that we kind of thought we were going to go with were completely ditched, and we opened up the world, the outside your box Dropbox folder, and we went with everything in there, which felt like such a risk. I'm not really like a cool dude, you know. I'm not like a edgy guy. I quite like, you know, I like things not safe, but I do like to, I don't know, I love worship music. And so for me, it was that moment we had that meeting. It was when the album completely changed. And so the brief that we had all written towards was like, we had kind of missed the mark. And so then we kind of reset into this kind of strange space that we hadn't been before. And so, yeah, sorry, I mean, I feel like I'm talking so much about like these little things, but for us, that was so pivotal because it changed the whole process. After that change, we ditched probably 45 songs, you know, in that moment, and we went a completely different direction. So it is quite fresh for us, but it's been honestly like the best thing like ever for the whole team. Because I think when you do that, like even the band and all our singers and everyone who's involved in Young and Free, there's definitely this sense of like, I don't know, excitement and joy about the project more than we've ever seen.
Everything's gonna be alright. Every little thing's gonna be just fine. Whether I can see it now, I know you will work it out for good. Every little thing.
You have to keep pushing forward, whatever it looks like. You have to almost like, even for yourself personally, I find myself like, if it feels safe or if it feels familiar, it's like, what can you do then to make it not feel familiar, you know, and like, because I always will come back to the thing that feels natural. And I think that's good, but I think it's like, okay, how do I make this now feel like something I haven't done, even just for myself, because then you feel like you're actually achieving something, you're taking steps forward.
I won't wash away like branches in rain. I'd rather be kindling in the light. Set me on fire like a barefoot moon. I wanna love you more as life goes on. So all of my days, my first again. My first again.
That was Hillsong Young and Free. Make sure to check out their new single, Never Have I Ever, wherever you get your music. You're listening to Alice Bowman. Song is Be Mine. It's the Jaco Aino Kalevi remix. Okay, so the first week that Jamie and Derek joined the cast, we did a little bit of get to know you questions. If y'all remember, I pulled out the table topics cards and we got to know a little bit about their stories. Well, I thought it's been a few months now. Let's go back and fill in some gaps. So it's time once again for
Meet the Cast. Meet the Cast. Meet the Cast.
It's time for kind of Meet the Cast redo. I grabbed another batch of table topics questions and I thought it'd be fun to just lob some of these up. And then we will end the segment by asking you guys, our listeners, one of these questions for the question of the week. There you go. All right. So no particular order. Here we go. Would you rather travel into the past to meet your ancestors or travel into the future to meet your grandchildren?
Gosh.
I would go to the past, but I would do some things when I'm there, like give my ancestors winning lottery tickets from the year 2020. Like give them the numbers.
I just watched Back to the Future.
It's like Back to the Future.
That's a major part of it.
I know.
That's a slippery slope, Jesse.
Jeez.
I think I would go to the future.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't going to the past, y'all. I'm keeping gangster with y'all.
Yeah, let's go forward and see what we got going on.
Future, no, I'm not trying to get trapped back there.
Oh, gosh. All right. Would you rather be considered totally weird and awkward or average with no unique or special qualities?
Neither.
No, you have to choose one.
Okay. Average. I don't like to be made fun of. And people make fun of weird people.
Interesting.
I'm going awkward because I'm really good at making fun of people. So I would just spin it right back to you.
I feel like I've been...
The whole thing makes me uncomfortable.
I feel
so
like
you wouldn't be like Steve Urkel. You would rather be Steve Urkel than just one of the other family members that none of us remember.
No. There could be Steve Urkel, or I could be like the guy in Lady in the Water, where like one of my arms is really, really built, and then one of them's really small. It doesn't, weird and awkward doesn't mean bad. I could just have I could have overly overwhelming pecs or something. You know what I mean? It's just like, damn, you see that dude's pecs? Those are
dude,
crazy.
that Darren Miner, you know what's crazy about him? All pec. He's all pec.
Right. He's just
giant
all pec.
From someone who's been dancing this line their entire life, I'm going to go weird and awkward. It's always more fun. It's always more fun.
Okay. If you had to teach a class for a day, what subject would be natural for you? Teach a class for a day.
Oh man, that's tough. It would probably...
I was a teacher before I had kids, guys.
So what subject?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I taught 8th grade journalism and Bible at a private school. And then I taught 5th grade right before I had kids. So there you go.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
Uh-huh.
Mine would be it would be a class on finding weird stuff on the internet, because I know all the places to go. and it's not accredited. And
unfortunately, a lot of people who follow Relevant on Instagram also know where to go to find weird information.
Funny anecdotes for their weird info.
Music production. That would be it.
Oh, you can do that. Yeah.
Well, music production or entrepreneurship, man.
Yeah.
You can teach a
I didn't even
business
think
class.
about that. Yeah, definitely business.
If you became president, like Kanye,
You can, guys.
what is the first thing you would do to make the country a better place?
I know mine right away.
Free Wi-Fi for everybody.
Free Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi in public places. There's no reason why there shouldn't be free Wi-Fi everywhere.
Like treat it like a utility, like
a utility.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. It's just something that's provided, like
Absolutely.
libraries, education, Wi-Fi.
Yeah, a spot called Chattanooga, Tennessee. That they treat it like a utility. It's cheap. I think it's like $50 a month, and I mean it's really, really high speed. And it just, to me, it just makes sense that we're not going backwards. This isn't it's not a choice to have the internet anymore. Like you kind of need it to where we're going. So for me, that's the first thing.
It's one of the things that Zuckerberg's actually working on. He's shooting up a bunch of satellites, has been for a few
Around
years
the world,
now,
yeah.
and it's to bring internet over to Africa, developing nations for free, so they have access to the global community and education and everything else. So,
which that was one of the problems when quarantine hit and the schools went online. Is not everybody in America has A, access to a computer, and B, access to the internet. So, okay, you want my kid to do work online, but what, I have to take him to the library? It's closed,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Jamie, do you know what you would do first? Because I've thought about this.
Don't.
I've thought about this extensively.
I wouldn't wish the presidency on my worst enemy, though, so I don't know what I would do.
I've thought about this a lot. Inauguration night, this would go down. I would have
right from the beginning.
Wow! I would take the limo. I would
not
take
even the first 100 days. Just
no. I would take the limo from the speech, and my speech would be very short. And I would say, "All right, everyone, 9:00, tune in." It like an FDR style fireside chat. But what I'm going to do is live on. You know when the president makes one of those speeches and all the channels put it on. I would be like, hey, guys, listen, this is one of those times. Trust me, because tonight on live TV, I am going to have all the alien files delivered to my office, and I'm going to crack them open for the first time, and I'm going to start reading, and we're going to do it together as a family. My fellow Americans, roll up your sleeves, because we're finding about them aliens tonight, live, night one.
That's good.
Just let's clear the air, because everyone's thinking about it. If they voted for me, that's probably the only reason they voted for me.
That's what you're running on,
Guys, gotta figure out. Taxes, tough. Healthcare in the country, I don't know. I'll tell you what, though, gonna find about them aliens. Night one. And I would be like, listen, low-key, I'll get like a really good VP, and I'll resign after I get the alien knowledge and just let that person run the show. Night one, aliens. Vote for me. Birthday party.
All right. What's something you got away with as a child that your family still doesn't know about?
Oh gosh, the list is long.
No, my list is very long.
My list is long.
Something I got away with as a child.
I mean,
I was bad.
Most of my teenage
Everything.
years.
If we're going to talk like a multi-year situation, like the majority of my childhood, I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music, and I almost only listened to secular music. I bought, I hid headphones, the whole thing. Covert operation for years and years and years. To this day, in my 40s, I don't think my parents think I've ever heard a secular music song. So,
I'm gonna keep it honest. I don't think I've got away with anything because my mom has to.
Always got caught.
Like it's crazy. Like there would be times when I had this surefire plan. So either I'm just not a good criminal, or like she's just really good. Like one time I took my our van. I had this job, and I was supposed to get off at 10, and I got off at 8. So I was driving my mom's van around. Picture that, and picked up some homeboys. We were joyriding, and boom, I wrecked it. You know what I'm saying? And I get home, and I tell mom, I'm like, yo, mom, you'll never guess what happened. I was at work. Somebody hit me in the parking lot, blah, 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 blah. My mom, this is no lie. She'll tell you this. She wakes up. She says, you were riding around the city with Squeaky and Tony. Y'all were riding, and you hit something, and you brought the car home. And literally, my face just turned white as a ghost. Like,
Mama's
that's
no.
literally what happened. So I'm like, you know what? I don't think I got away with anything. She's like, it's crazy.
Dude, when I was in high school, my bedroom was on the second floor. I my parents had a security system in the house. And so I'd hear them program it. And then you're locked in and they go to bed, right? I figured out how to, one day during the day when it wasn't active, how to undo the two magnet things and tie the wires together on my window. So it was always closed. And so my parents would go to bed. I would open my window, shimmy down from the second floor, walk around the house to the garage, push my car out into the street,
that's a lot of
fire
work.
it up and drive away at midnight or 1 a.m, go pick up my friends. We would TP houses of kids in the youth group and suds fountains and stuff. I drop them off. I go home. I crawl back up. I go to bed. Then my parents never caught me ever. Then we would get retaliation TPs, right? Our yard was always, we had all these pine trees and stuff. And my parents couldn't figure out why we were being so persecuted as a family. And I would I don't know, Dad. I'm just bullies and I don't know who's doing this. I never fessed up. They never caught me. And it was because I was the antagonizer in the youth group. And
so who was cleaning up the toilet paper? Was it you? Did you have to clean it up, or was it dear old dad?
So my dad, no. My dad would be so upset. He'd call the youth pastor. They'd call around. They'd figure out what kid did it. That kid, my dad would call their parents. Those kids would have to come clean up our yard. But I never got caught. I never had to do nothing. It was great.
That's crazy.
I am terrified to be a parent right now because of the genes I have passed on to my son. You know what I mean?
He's giving it back.
I see the look in his eye sometimes. I know what you're thinking.
Yes.
I've thought that too.
I don't trust any of my kids. We're going where? Okay, I'll see you there. Yeah. No. I'll be at the movie 3 rows back watching you.
I remember one time I grew up right near the Intercoastal Waterway, and my dad used to take me and my brother fishing there a lot. And there was this old train trestle that would cross the Intercoastal Waterway that was no longer operational, but it was 50 feet in the air. It was way off the water. And one day we were fishing and some teenagers went and climbed up and jumped off into the water. And I'm 7. And all I can think is that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. My dad looked at me and my brother. He goes, "You boys never, ever try something like that." Fast forward about 10 years. One night, me and my goofball friends are palling around. We're like, "Hey, we should go jump off that train trestle." And I remember standing up there that night, the middle of the night, about to jump in. I thought back to myself as a little kid, standing right on the shores. My dad telling me not to do this. I was like, "Sorry, woo!" And it was awesome. And the cops came. I had to hide in the woods for an hour, freezing cold. But great story years later. So there we go.
Yeah, I set our woods on fire. I did a lot of stuff.
What?
Oh yeah.
What the heck? How
Never
did you
got
do
caught.
that?
Never got caught. I do you remember Lethal Weapon 2? The opener of Lethal Weapon 2, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, and the slow flame went and then they pull out and it said Lethal Weapon 2 is filming. I got a can of gas and wrote messages on our driveway and lit it, and it exploded like a huge bomb because the gas went right back to the tank, and then so it went, and then flame is shooting out everywhere. Yeah, I was a bad kid. So
I didn't know that we're counting arson in this because I do have some things.
Now you have new things.
I'm going to play close to the chest for now. I don't know the statute of limitations on some things. So.
All right, this is actually a good question of the week. There's a lot more questions. Maybe we'll come back to this cast thing next week or the week after, but that's a good question of the week. So it's time for
editorial question of the week.
What is something you, our listeners, got away with as a child that your family still doesn't know about? Hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, or you can DM us at the Relevant Magazine Instagram account. We will read some of your stories on the show next week.
I'm nervous about this one, Cameron. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm nervous about this one, bro.
All right. Well, many thanks to NT Wright and Hillsong Young and Free for joining us. You can follow NT Wright on Twitter. He's a prolific tweeter at NT Wright Online. And you can follow Hillsong Young and Free on Instagram at Young and Free. Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
Jamie Ivey.
I'm Derek Miner.
All right, we will see you next week. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thanks for
listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, check out our Relevant Podcast Network, featuring shows like Relevant Daily, Signs of Life, Unedited, and many more launching throughout the year.
Night one, aliens. Vote for me.
Relevant Podcast Network.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care. Go to Dutch.com to get vet care that is always there for just $92 a year.